where we speak about how small businesses and startups in our community can grow their business and take it to the next level. Tonight, we'll be discussing about customer service and how to create brand loyalty. Like the previous sessions, we speak to and learn from industry experts and successful business owners, and inshallah, hopefully learn from them. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the esteemed panelists for tonight. We have with us Siddiq Abai, who runs two companies, one being TechCom Distribution, which is a sub-distributor for HP and Dell. She also runs Citruson International Limited, which is the distributor for Canadian Harvest. Also joining us, we have Jamila Bai Hemani, who is the managing director at the famous Dawson Interiors and Renzo Blinds Limited. Last but obviously not the least, we have Murtaza Versi, who is the director at Noesi Strategic Institute and is passionate about helping leaders drive long-term business results. He's also a performance coach. So Murtaza Bai, Jamila Bai and Siddiq Bai, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
So nice
Pleasure.
to be here.
Asante. I'm sure, like myself, the audience is looking forward to learning from you. But before we continue, I'd like to remind the viewers that at any point, please write down your questions in the live section and we'll try to answer your questions. Also, you'll see on your screen there's a QR code and a link to a survey. Please fill that survey in. It helps us get feedback from you guys. And inshallah, hopefully in return, you could win a chance for a private consultation with the speakers. So, we'll continue with the interview. Murtaza, before tonight's talk show, I was doing some reading and some research on customer service. And I read that many customers go back to businesses because of customer service. And I thought to myself, is that true to myself? Is it true in my life? And I realized many restaurants that I go back to, many grocery shops that I buy from, I really do go back to them because of the customer service. So for the benefit of the audience, if you could explain to us what customer service really is and why is it so important for startups?
Okay. Thank you. And I think that's a very important question that you ask for any businesses, whether small, big, but even a very important question for life, because service is everywhere. Even it starts from home, it goes to business. And as you grow your business, service becomes a central part. You have to decide, create a mind that are you in a service industry, happening to be in whatever business you're doing, or are you in that business offering service? And so that's the difference. Let me give you an example. Service, when you look at customer service per se, it is the interaction between the customer, the person who buys from you, and the individuals in your organization. So, or it can be yourself as well if you're a single person, solopreneur. And so it's that interaction between the buyer and the seller, right? And that's very important for customers because the way you behave with them is the starting point for them to return. The way you handle them, the way you take care of them, that's the starting point.
For sure.
Right. So that's where we start talking about service and customer service.
So it's the little things, how you make the customers feel.
Yeah, so we talk about 5 basic principles, right? The first one is, first yourself as an individual. You have to feel good about what you do. If you don't feel good about yourself and the work that you do, you're not going to pass that emotion to your customer that you're serving, right? So that's the first base.
So important.
Second base is, practicing habits of courtesy. How do you welcome your customers? How do you handle them? How do you take care of them? The third one is about your positive communication, right? Your body says a lot about you than the spoken words. How you engage with your body if it's a face-to-face. But then the other thing that is very important is asking questions to your customers and listening attentively to what they say, because that's very important for the total outcome of their journey. And finally, you really need to know your business. You really need to understand how your business is operating. So when you look at those 5 principles, those are the 5 basic principles for customer service.
Nice. So it's listening attentively, knowing your business.
Yeah, so first, you have to feel good about yourself.
Sure.
Feel
And
good
then
about it.
Yeah,
Because you are marketing yourself
So,
too.
exactly.
It is a reflection
Exactly.
of what you are, right?
So that's very important, right? And then you have to be respectful.
Always.
Always.
No customer is big or small. If
Yeah.
you treat all your customers the same way, that is a reflection of how ethical you are in your business, and that will reflect upon your business.
And you know where it started from. So if you have a big business, the starting point of practicing the 5 basic principles is with your workforce.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because when you handle your workforce as your customer,
How you treat them.
How you
you
treat
treat them,
them.
how you practice that with your customers,
How you
internal
make them
customers,
feel.
they will automatically take it up with the external customers.
And adding on to what Murtaza is saying, always put yourself in the customer's place.
Right.
If you were on the receiving end
How would
or
you
at
feel,
the
yeah.
other end,
Yeah.
how would you feel?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So important. Yeah.
It's very important to put that up.
Right.
For sure. So Murtaza, before we speak about how to make your employees feel, there's 3 terms that I usually get confused by. There's
Yeah.
customer service, there's customer experience, and there's customer relationship.
Okay,
How would you differentiate these 3 things?
good question. When you look at service, service is part of an experience. So let's start with the experience. When someone wants to buy something from you, and is made up of mind that I want to buy this product or service from you, that's the starting point. And the starting point is when they start knowing now how do they get in touch with you. It can be through various channels that they get in touch with you, and then they interact with you. They get your product, and then they close because they need to pay, and then finally go home and experience or go through that product or eat it or whatever that product may be used for, or that service. That entire process is the journey, which is the customer experience. Right? So it's, if you take it in terms of traveling, you go for check-in, you board the flight, you sit in the aircraft, you arrive your destination, you exit the airport, and you go to the hotel. That entire journey is the experience. Service is part of it. Service is when you go to the check-in, how does the check-in staff handle you? Does he smile? When you go to the lounge, how does he handle you? Or how does she handle you? That's the service part. Customer relationship, meanwhile, is now once in that journey, how do you get in touch with the customers pre or after that experience? Right? So it's about building that relationship, because business is about relationship. The more you can build the relationship, the more you get your brand acknowledged.
So if a business follows up with me after I've bought from them, that's customer relationship.
Yes, so you build a customer relationship, management they call it even.
For sure.
So, you know, knowing your customers, right? When's their birthday? What do they like to do? Maybe their hobbies are playing golf, or it's gardening,
Would you like to do?
or it's cooking, right?
Right.
So, you know, you have all that.
Once Jamila had a customer who was pregnant, so she could congratulate her.
Yeah, right?
Yes,
Sunflowers.
sunflowers. So, you know, all that is about CRM.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you must have gone through that experience.
Right.
So
Yeah. It
coming
makes
to-
us feel special. What makes you feel special? What makes you feel important? That will emotionally connect you to the business. So you were saying something.
Yeah. So even when they're not purchasing anything from you, just making a call
And
to
checking.
them. Hello, how are you? You don't have to talk about business.
Yeah.
Just calling and saying, hey, hello, how are you? So what we do in our IT business and in our food
Right.
business is just make calls. There's a list of 5-6 customers that are called on a daily basis by the sales staff. So 5-6 per sales staff. And it's just like, hey, Kim Chotame VP, Hujambo, Mambo VP,
Yeah.
Tuonane, let's meet up, you know, or how's your family? Is your son already at university? Because all these customers have been with us long term. For me, I've been with Jamila since she started.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Yes, and I've had customers who have been with us when
Yeah.
TechCom started 15, 16 years ago. So it's good, it's prudent
Yeah.
to ask, you know, how many kids do you have? You know, how old are they? And if you keep that in mind, you can follow up when you're calling them, hey, how did your son's graduation go?
Yeah.
Or your daughter's engaged, I heard. How are things? It's creating that personal
Personal touch.
relationship not just a business relationship.
So
And
I've wondered-
actually, when I think about it, a lot of my close friends today that I've made are through
Yeah.
dealing with them,
Yeah.
through business. Yeah, because we connected and then we became friends, and that stays regardless.
So you know the two basic principles in that customer relationship is about people buy from people,
Yeah.
right? And the second principle that's very important is building trust with your customers,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
right? They should be able to trust you. And never over-promise and under-deliver.
Yeah.
It's under-promise and over-deliver.
Over-deliver.
Always.
For sure.
Exceed their expectations.
Yes, absolutely. You need to exceed
Yeah.
it all the time.
And that brings loyalty.
Yeah.
That's how customers stay loyal to you. And again, one of the principles that
Yeah.
Murtaza talked about was customer loyalty.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned about birthdays. Yeah?
Yes.
So there's a bank I use, and on my birthday, they sent me a message. And I realized it could be an automated message, but just seeing that message, they
Yeah.
were one of the first people to wish me on my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me feel so nice.
Yeah.
After my wife, she the bank,
Just to let you know.
after my wife, the bank wished me,
Yeah.
and it felt so nice.
And that's your customer, by the way, your wife, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're your customer.
Oh, that's
Yeah, okay. So
trading
okay.
in dangerous
But that's
grounds.
home.
No, for sure, yeah. But Siddiqa, you mentioned about calling up your customers. And you need to be genuine to sound genuine.
Yeah.
You can't just be
Absolutely.
telling them, oh, how are you? And then straight and go through, okay, we have this offer, we have this discount. But I wondered, in a product-based business, yeah, like your business in Canadian Harvest, you have thousands and plus consumers. How would you make them feel satisfied as customers? It would be very difficult to call 1,000, 2,000 people, up to 10,000 people on a daily basis. So how do you make sure you keep them satisfied?
So when it comes to both industries, Canadian Harvest and the computer industry, we also do visits to our customers. Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
it was easier to do that because you could just walk around. A lot of people nowadays are a little hesitant.
To check
Yeah?
with them. Are you okay if I come meet
Yes,
you?
yes. Literally, that's what it's been
Yeah,
like. Yeah?
yeah.
And in the computer industry, we have Zoom calls now,
Yeah.
whereby even our supplier will call me on Zoom.
Yeah.
ठीक छो तमे बधु बराबर छे भाभी, काई मोकलाऊ तमे. It's like that, literally, yeah. And with our customers, we call, we visit. When it comes to the Canadian Harvest product, to keep that touch, we'll just send them a new sample of a product that's just come in, and say, you know what? I'm sending you this, try it out, let me know how it is, before we introduce it into the market. Because those customers are going to be honest with you. And it's looking at all different demographics. So it will be to supermarket managers, okay? It will be to the food and beverage manager at restaurants.
Yeah.
It'll be at the dukas, the small dukas,
You asked me to try it before
exactly.
you. Yeah.
So,
So
we'll
they feel part of the
exactly.
supply
So
chain,
they
yeah.
know that they're part of the Canadian Harvest family.
Yeah.
And they'll feel
Because-
So important.
confident
Yes.
about
So
selling
important, yeah.
once they've
Yeah.
tasted it and
Exactly.
experienced it.
So in a point like that, what you really try and achieve is achieve a tribe, which we call.
Yeah.
In the Western world, they call it a tribe. We can call it a community,
Yeah.
right? So you have everyone in that part, and you catch up for everyone.
Yeah.
And you really don't have to advertise, because the word of mouth
Yeah.
that they will do for you to increase your business is immense.
Yeah.
Right? So, that really brings in, I'll give you a good example. What we do, for instance, I will make sure every morning, I take 20 minutes in a day to build a CRM.
Okay.
The first thing I would do is I will go to Facebook and find out whose birthday is next week. Every Saturday I do that.
Okay.
And so I would
I'll let you know
either-
mine.
I would often-
Yeah, I'll add you on Facebook too, so you can remember that.
So what I can actually do is call that person even before, if I'm close, if it's a customer, I would actually call and say, okay, so this week is your birthday, what are you planning? That already gives them a feel that,
For sure.
that I remember them, I'm close to them. Otherwise, I would send them during the day the birthday greetings. On the other hand, you have a list of, let's say, 200 customers that you really want to get in touch with. And what you do is every day I call or I send an email, I send value stuff to the customer, 10.
Yeah.
10 customers a day. and I rotate every day. If you are in a business like, selling small stuff, if you're in food stuff industry in our community, imagine you get a call from the person who's selling, let's say, basic stuff like churro, right? Or is selling food stuff, and gets a call and says, hey, you know what? I just called to see how you're doing, and is everything okay? And oh, by the way, how's the family doing? And I just called to say hi.
Yeah.
You're in front of your customers every day.
Yeah.
And I
that is
realize,
service. That's CRM. That's
Right.
customer relation. Yeah.
and I realize that today when everything is so digital, everything is so online, and if somebody goes out of their way and makes a call, that personal touch,
Yes. Yeah.
how you make them feel, it goes such a long way. And genuinely, there are times when you just feel, I haven't seen or met this person for such a long time, and you pick up your phone and you make a call, and they'll be so happy.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, initially, that may not even be your intention that you want more business from that person, right?
They could give you
But
more.
initially, oh, you know what? I've been thinking about you.
No.
Yes.
80% of the time you said, I need this done. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Telepathy.
That's why I thought of you.
Yeah. So basically, how you make them feel,
How do
Yeah.
we-
and then what you want them to think, and after that, what you want them to do.
Right. The
Right.
action.
The 3 points: how you make them feel, think, and do, goes a long way.
To add to that, so I was thinking, you have those aha moments. So I was thinking, okay, brand, business, what's the difference? What is it? Yeah. So I was thinking that, okay, business is the product or the service that you come up with. This is what I want to sell, or this is how I want to be of service, right?
Yeah.
So for example, you, Murtaza Versi, leadership coach.
Yeah.
That is on your business card, for example. And that is, to me, when I see that, that's a name, it's a business, right? What makes you a brand, right? It's when I first meet you, how you come across, your personality,
True.
the way you make me feel. Do you make me feel comfortable? Do you make me feel that I can connect with you? Okay. That is your personality. And that is how we make friends, right?
Yes.
So for example, you make a friend, and that is because of her personality and how she made you feel at that point, and that friendship lasts. And then the relation with the customer remains, because every time you connect, you keep feeling the same or better.
True.
So the business is a business, but the impact that you have on your client is what makes, it's the business's personality, which is then the brand.
You add a personal touch, regardless of the size of the business. Yeah.
Personal touch, and how, like for example, I'll give you an example. A very dear friend of mine who's seen a lot of my work, our work, in different places, came to the showroom and was like, I was like, how is it? She's like, Jamila, I don't like it. I'm like, why? What's wrong? She's like, this place does not do justice to what you're capable of doing
Okay.
as an interior furnishing company. It does not speak your work. And I had traveled after that, and traveling is good because you go away, you have time to think. I came back and I stepped into the showroom, and honestly, I hated it. I mean, I don't use the word hate, but at that point, I was like, it's so true. Where is the essence of the place? It's lost because you're doing your daily thing, everything's going, and you think it's fine, and you don't realize that there's something huge that's missing, there's a gap. And overnight, we made changes. And what are the changes? We decided that we're going to give the kind of journey to the customer, the kind of experience to the customer, where as soon as they enter, all the 5 senses are activated.
Yeah.
So for example, the sight, visually appealing, right? The sound, when they come in, what are they hearing? The smell, how does the place smell, right? And then how do we make them feel by the way we speak to them?
Yeah.
And this was like, everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
What is it you're doing? Are you mad? Like what? I'm like, let's do this together.
But I appreciate that you took the feedback, yeah, and you
Right.
realized there's something you could work on. And I think it's so important for businesses
To be able to take
To take
feedback.
feedback,
You know
yeah.
what? Feedback, what you learn, if you can hear it, you won't learn in any university from anywhere.
Yeah.
Feedback is treasure. You know?
It reminds me of
Yeah.
one company where we asked, they asked me to facilitate something.
Okay.
They wanted to do something about customers. They wanted to improve about their customer service. And so what we came up with, and I said, why don't you engage your customers to actually be your doctors?
Okay.
And we went into a place and we invited customers. And their job was just to keep quiet and not defend anything. And we facilitated the program for 2 hours. But then what happened? They created the list of items that they got feedback from the customers. That was not enough, because they then gave promise to the customers that they will come back to them every quarterly with the result of what really happened with that action plan. They increased their business by 28%
Wow.
No way.
that year, right?
Wow.
Why was that? Because everyone asks you for feedback. When you take that feedback, work on it and go back to the person who's given you feedback and say, you know what, that last feedback you gave me helped me to do this, this, and this, and it impacted this, so I really appreciate. Oh my God, that business, that person
Goes a long
becomes
way.
loyal
Yeah.
Goes a long way.
because he
Yeah.
understands that you appreciate
Yeah. What
Right.
he's saying.
what he's saying and you value.
Right.
That's when you emotionally start engaging your customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important for business.
We
Sure.
tend to get very defensive
Hmm.
when
So-
anyone criticizes us.
It's so difficult not to get defended.
So
Because it's your baby,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And it happens in all aspects
Yeah.
of life, even in relationships.
Yeah.
That whenever somebody says anything negative to you, our shackles go up and we're
Ding,
like,
ding, ding.
no but, no but, no but, no but.
No but,
yeah?
yeah.
That no but,
But.
has to stop. There should be no buts to it.
But should leave the dictionary.
Exactly.
He's actually in India, Mr. Butt.
So we have to keep our mind very open and say, yes, this is creative criticism.
Yeah.
Not criticism, but creative criticism. Understand, listen. Many a times we choose to hear and not listen.
Yeah.
So we've got to listen.
To understand
Yes.
rather than to respond.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're
Okay?
not there to win an argument. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
And
there.
You're trying to build your business,
Yes,
and someone's
and
generally
then
trying to help you.
apply.
Help you, yeah.
At that point, hear the person, whoever is giving you the criticism, jot it down.
Yeah.
Don't react to it. When you're calmer, go through that and say, okay, this person does make sense.
make sense, yeah.
Because whoever comes back to you cares. That is why they're coming back.
Yeah.
True.
And we've got to understand that, as opposed to saying, no, they're out there to get us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So think about, there's something you mentioned in the last point, was about giving your retailers, your resellers, free tastings before you introduce a whole new product. And I recently read something that reminded me of this, and that is, don't offer solutions to your clients, but partner with your clients to offer solutions. Yeah?
Absolutely.
And it rang a bell to me when you mentioned this. But to go back to the basics, Jamila, if you could shed light on what good customer service means in the service businesses. Yeah, if
Right.
someone, especially for someone who is running a service business from home,
Right.
let's say they do event organizing,
Right.
or they do
Photography.
or
Yeah.
makeup. Yeah?
Yeah.
What would good customer service mean in a service-oriented business?
I think good customer service would be when you have first of all what you portray about your company, right? So you have built an expectation in your potential customers' mind, and then when you're able to meet and exceed that, right? So for example, with our creative line, right? I talk to them and I say, listen, you're not making curtains, we're not making sofas, we're actually adding value to a customer's life, because they're going to be having memories. You know, it's possible they've been through a bad day, they come home and the furnishing makes them feel happy, right? If you're a photographer and you're just taking photos and somebody else there is another photographer and taking photos, what's the difference, right? But if your mindset is that I'm going to go take photos and that entire experience is going to be remembered even after the person in the photo is not there anymore, right? So you will then value what you're doing to a level, and then the entire approach of how you deal with it is going to change, right?
Yeah.
Because now, so even when we're talking to our workshop, I'm like, you're not stitching a fabric. Take that window as a canvas, and you're creating art. And then through the line, the entire force is working towards a project, realizing the value that they're adding to that.
Yeah.
So it's not about the photograph or photography.
It's the memory.
It's about doing the photography with love.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I also
that
like that
will
you
add value
Yeah.
value, yeah, for sure.
to the journey of the customers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you need to stop treating customers like numbers,
Yeah.
but people who have journeys and emotions.
Exactly.
And when you understand their needs,
Right.
and you know, you need to listen, huh? Listen to
I think
understand.
listening comes back to listening.
Yeah.
It's the
Welcome back to
basics.
Yeah.
And we call it in business terms and in a lot of stuff empathy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really using, and for leadership as well, empathy is so critical today for businesses that, you know, you really need to listen to understand
Yeah.
your customer.
We tell our sales team that, you know, they get excited when they close a big deal. No, it's big sale. I'm like, we're not happy when you close a sale. We're not happy when you get the advance payment. We're happy when you deliver the job
Yeah.
successfully and you have a client that's happy. Then kudos.
There's a
Until
big
then,
difference between.
there's a huge difference
Yeah.
between closing a sale and delivering it.
And
you know,
going that
correctly.
extra mile.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a personal experience with Jamila, and she went the extra mile because of some sort of thing that I wasn't happy with. Yeah? She herself came at home, checked it out, and said, you know what? I'm going to fix it. And then she went that extra mile, taking on a job that is not part of her services that she offers.
Yeah.
But she was kind enough to say, you know what? Let me take this.
do it, yeah.
I'll see what I can do. And straight away, she called me and said, you know what? We can do it. I'll get this picked up and I'll get it done. For me, she's won me for life.
Yeah.
In the literal
Yay.
sense. I've been with her always.
Yeah.
And for now, in the literal sense, she has won me for life. Because that's very hard to get here. Whereby we tend again to say, no, my job is perfect. It must be this, it must be that.
Yes.
Yeah. She came home herself to check and say, you know what? Maybe this is not right. The shape of your window is lopsided, but let me go back and see what I can do for you.
Yeah.
So she showed me, yes, there was an issue, but didn't say, sorry, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
She offered me a solution that I was happy with, and then again, went that extra mile to keep me happy because it did make me happy. And literally, I wrote to her today and I said, you know what, thank you so much. You took a load off me. Because I didn't have to go hunt for another trade to finish the project that I had in hand.
She actually did add value to what
Exactly.
the service she offered, but I think what is more important is how she made you feel. And together with that, from our own experience, sometimes when a business owner, for example, the business owner comes to your house, like you mentioned.
Which is like Rosho, for instance. Let's talk about Rosho.
Oh, let's talk about
Roche.
Where's
those
my
that-
free Roshobar?
Yes, let's talk about Rosho.
Before we do that, let's take some questions from from the viewers. Yeah, there's so many questions. There is one. Muhammad Abbas Karim is asking: is there such a thing as being too nice to a customer? And if yes, how do you draw a line to prevent customers taking advantage of the niceness?
So, yeah, I mean that's a nice point about taking advantage. You have to define what's advantage. Being nice is just human. I would not say be nice. I would say just be human. Treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And treat them well. And once you do that, them taking advantage, they probably take it once, twice, thrice. But you know there is a point where they will feel ashamed of taking that advantage. And don't worry about advantages. Just offer that service that you need to offer. And when you do that, you'll get repeat customers. What you should fight for, and what people are working on, is trying to get as many customers as possible. Rather, it could be easier if you get a few customers who are repeated. It's the same thing. Less energy, more business. And so taking advantage of a business or taking advantage of you, I don't think that should even be in the mindset at the moment.
I'd like to
Add to that, that with the kind of customization that we do and the kind of furnishing and the kind of service that we do, what happens is sometimes when you're actually going out of your way, but the customer feels that you're obliged to, and that's not really appreciated, end of the day. So what's helped us is to make the expectation during the first meeting itself very clear.
To set expectations from the start.
So to be very clear about this, the product that you're offering
And the delivery
and the delivery process. Like for example, in our kind of business, there are times when things, because when that are beyond your control, things that can go wrong, right? And things that go right. So it's very important to set that right in the beginning so that your client is also prepared.
Yeah.
Like I have an example, right? When we initially started selling blinds and so when the window is really big, you're going to make 3 blinds and there's going to be a gap between the blinds, right? Now that, if it's not communicated to the client from before, they'll be disappointed later on that why are there the gaps? So we had an experience where we supplied blinds and the client was upset because of so then after that, we made the expectation very clear saying that, okay, your window is big, we're going to make blinds that are going to be split into more than one and there will be a gap. And we stopped facing a problem because now we have set...
You've set expectations already.
They know what to expect. They know what's covered. A 2-year warranty is covered, right? After that, we're still there to support you, but we will obviously have to deal with it in a different way. So it's all about setting the expectations and then following through.
So there's another question that ties in really well with that, like how you explained. And because Siddiqa Bai mentioned an example of you going to her place, someone's asking, when owner or senior managers get involved,
right?
Won't you raise expectation of the customer and they'll always want to speak to a top manager?
Right.
Yeah, so then I'm thinking the question what he's trying to ask is, you've delegated work to your junior staff.
Yeah.
And then if the manager gets involved, won't it affect the chain of command?
Okay, so I'd like to answer that first. So from the onset, when I had met Jamila, when I went in for my first consult with her, she met me, she showed me what was there, and then she introduced me to her sales staff who was going to take care of everything that I was going to do. The reason she did that is because I got in touch with her directly, that I want to come see you because I'm going to get these things done. She passed on me to her staff and said, okay, this lady is going to be taking care of you. And when I had the issues, I did speak to her staff, who was amazing. And she goes, I'll have to speak to my boss because I don't know. And she was honest. See, that is the thing. When people come to be very honest. If you don't have a solution, be honest and say, I'm going to speak to somebody senior or going to speak to my boss, and then I will come back to you. Okay? Because I was time barred, okay, when she did get back to me, she goes, I'm just going to do it with Jamila. I will get back to you. I said, you know what? Let me get in touch with Jamila direct because I need this sorted ASAP. So I wrote to Jamila. I said, this is the issue. I sent her the same pictures. I had sent her the staff, and she told me that the staff had already gotten in touch with her. But again, I'm not the only client that they're dealing with. They have numerous clients. So going directly at times, not all the time, is pivotal. I'll add to that. I had a customer today who had reached their credit limit. This is at Techcom Distribution, okay? And they were talking to my staff, and my staff was saying, no, we cannot do anything to help you. This is it. Again, we try to empower our staff so that the customer does not come to top management. At that point, again, because business is at a critical level economically across the globe, I said to my staff, do you mind if I take this on? I have a solution here. And he says, yes, please go ahead and do it, because he was having a tough day, and I didn't want that tough day to affect the relationship with the client. And this client has been with us for 16 years since we opened up. I called the client and I said, look, you've reached your credit limit. What you want, what is it for? Do you have a set order, or is it for stocking purposes? He goes, it's only for stocking purposes. I said, look, out of the 6 items that are there, Okay, I have 4 that has more than enough stock, and I have more stock coming at the same pricing that I can avail you. So how about I reduce your order to a minimum?
Yeah.
You sell, you pay, you take more. And even though you're going to be taking, because we have credit pricing and cash pricing, I will give it to you at the cash price, even if you pay in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's happy. I've sold my product, and I've built that relationship with him.
Yeah.
He's messaged me numerous times through the day to say thank you, I really appreciate it, and because you went out of your way for this, I will pay you by Saturday.
Oh, nice. You went out of your way and he appreciated that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, there is always a solution to each and every problem if we calm down, think about it logically,
Yeah.
and then present it.
Yeah.
So 2 things. My staff was having a crappy day. So I told him, you know what?
Right.
Exactly. End of the month, we had trainings going on, and it was chaotic. And business has been slow, but this has been a good month. And we're like, okay, it's okay. And I asked him, do you mind if I take over from here? So give that respect to your staff.
Yeah.
Let him decide if
Yeah.
he's willing to take that solution to the client,
Right.
or he wants you to do that.
And knowing you, Siddiqa, I'm sure you also took that idea of yours on another good day to your staff
Yeah.
to
And-
actually share what you did. Because the next time, and that's what we tend to forget to do, is you take over a customer, you solve it, but then you do not coach your staff to be able to handle that the next time.
Yeah.
And that's what we, you see.
That's
when-
leadership, yeah?
Exactly. That's where I say everything in your business really depends on leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are times when you feel like you have it all figured out, right? And then a new project comes along and you learn something new
Yes.
about your business, about a solution, about yourself. And for example, with this, it was why was it necessary for me to go? Because it was challenging, and we've delegated. The staff could not handle it, and then for me it was important to go there because she's come to me not for a product. She came to me for a solution. She
Yes.
relied that I will give her that.
Yeah.
So then when I went to her house, I actually went with the staff who was handling it so that she could learn. And then the next time, I wouldn't be needed.
Can I
to
ask
provide
you,
that.
if you trusted your staff to be able to solve that issue, would you let them solve it?
Absolutely. And we do that. Like, I trust them
Have to.
100%.
Yeah. And I think that's so
Yeah.
important for owners to draw a line.
Yes.
To only get involved when they think it's something they need to do personally.
And honestly, sometimes, you know, if you're passionate about something, even if you don't need to get involved, you will get involved.
Yeah. But I think that's,
Because
I think that's the
That's
difference.
dangerous as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's creative. For example, when we close orders, I have a tendency of looking at the selections, you know, and seeing what the clients have selected. And then many times I go back to them, I'm like, you've selected this, I want to change this bit, or
Yeah.
I want to add this bit, because you want to, end of the day, give something that's 100%.
And I think that's the
Yeah.
fundamental difference between a service-oriented
service and-
and a
and-
product-oriented
yeah,
business.
yeah.
Because you have the luxury of getting involved and
Yeah.
speaking to the customer. While
exactly.
The product-based business, it's so difficult to meet the consumers.
I know. So how would you handle the product? Because you've got Rosho. How do you handle that?
Had
Let's
to
talk
cover
about
it.
that. I know you told me to wait.
Yeah, we have so many questions. We have so many
I know, it
questions.
doesn't matter. You parked that for a while. I want to hear your experience
We're inspired.
as customer service.
Yeah, we
From
have
your
we have a
perspective.
secret ingredient. So everyone loves our product.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Yeah, lots of love. No, but I think because you mentioned Rosho, I think the one of the important things that has helped us build a
Yes.
customer experience is even before they buy the product, we allow them to taste it in various places. We have free tasting in supermarkets, in some exhibitions, in artisan markets, and I think the most fulfilling bit about my business is not when someone buys a big order, but when someone tries it the first time and they're like, so good.
Yes.
And I feel so good about our product.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my question about free sampling, yeah?
Right.
Especially for product business.
Yeah.
How important would you say is free sampling, yeah, especially for women, example, who work from home,
Yes.
who make food? Is it important for them to send out free samples, not expect payment in return, agree and take negative feedback? What would you say about that?
Oh, very, very important. Extremely
Important.
Because if you're going to be feeding your family these things, you wanted to have that authentic taste of home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is why you're outsourcing it, maybe because you don't have the time. Or maybe today you feel like you don't want to cook and you don't pick something up from somewhere. Or because somebody has told you that this person's food is amazing. I know my mom gets a lot of free samples at her store at Zanana, right? Or like, Nasimanti, achakoto, Nasimanti, is this nice or not? Because my mom is a very loving person.
Yeah.
So they'll bring this to her.
And an influencer.
And you, and yeah,
Influencer.
You need to be the right person if it's
Yeah, exactly.
When she
Not
has
everyone.
tried-
Not everyone.
Yes, but when she's tried those products, she's like, it's when her customers come in, and she knows them for forever because she's been in this industry for so long or in this business for so long, that she'll tell her customers, why don't you order from her?
Yeah.
It's really good. Try it out. And if that lady has brought it that day to her as a sample, she'll say, here, have some.
Yeah.
Try it here.
And word of mouth. That
Word
is
of
very
mouth.
That
That's
really
right.
adds to what I was saying earlier. People buy from people,
people are people.
and they
Yeah.
build trust. When you build trust, they don't even ask because they just trust you.
Yeah.
They won't even go and say, okay, we'll find out. They will just go and get it.
When we started Canadian Harvest, it was a very new product in the market. And these things are not cheap. So what we did is sell first to restaurants. Okay? So when you go to a restaurant and you see Canadian Harvest ketchup, and you're having it with your fries, and you're like, this tastes really good.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I want to have it at home. They haven't invested in the product initially because they don't know what the product tastes like. But when it's a free sample at a restaurant, served with their food, and they like the combination of it, they're like, okay, I'm going to go get this. Okay? And once they buy a couple of products, they're like, I really like these products. You know,
Right.
the brand is really good. I tried their ketchup, and I tried their mayonnaise. I'm going to try their
The other
peanut
one.
butter.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to try something else.
But I think the challenge with small businesses, especially from home, is they find it very challenging to give out free samples. Already they're on a tight budget, a tight cash flow situation. You know, for them to feel like they can send out free samples for people to try.
Return on
That point.
Investment. So for example, there's
Return
somebody
on
who keeps
investment.
buying from you and you've tried something new, you call them up, I've tried something new and I want your feedback.
Yeah.
How do you find this? And you send it and there, you know, you've started selling something
For
different.
a short-term loss, you might end up with.
It's not a
Yeah.
loss,
Sample.
really.
It's not a loss.
Exactly.
It's an
Investment.
investment. You have to
It's a
see it as
sample.
investment.
It's
Yeah.
not that you have to give them a kilo of something or a dozen of something. It's one or two pieces for them to try.
So this has to be seen as a return, like an investment. It hasn't, not an expense.
If you're cooking for your family,
Yeah.
make some extra and say, you know what, I'm going to send this out. I know these customers will appreciate it, and send them out.
See,
That's one way.
basically, when you talk about people cooking for the house, you know, it's not about the churros and the gantias and the cakes, right? They have to, the mindset has to change. You're entering into a business platform now, right? You have to understand marketing. You have to understand the business. You have to understand regulations. You have to understand social media or marketing, that's part, financial stuff, customer service, customer strategy. So you've got to start understanding that part as well. And when you look at samples, sometimes it's, you know, when you really start a business, you even have to define who is your target customers,
customer,
right?
for sure.
Where are you going to sell this product that you want? And I think that's very critical for a home-based business, that they understand it, that it's not about churro or gantia, but it's about really a business that they want to create. And maybe that's something that they really need to develop.
To look beyond your product and think of
Exactly.
it as a business.
Look at it as a business, that rather than looking at it as an additional income only.
Do you guys realize you have only 10 minutes left?
Really?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That went quick. Considering how
We need a-
nervous we were.
It was so much fun.
So we need a part 2.
Part two, for sure, part 2. And we have so many questions, so we'll do a rapid fire round.
Right.
I'll start with Siddiqa. They haven't asked any individual person to answer them, but just for the convenience, I'll ask one each. Someone's asking, how do you explain people the value of a product or brand if it costs extra? Anyone could answer? Or you?
Can you rephrase that question?
So
Sorry.
if your product is priced higher than the usual, your competitors, how do you explain the value you've added to the product?
Okay. When I order food from somebody who's selling from home, yeah, I have a tendency, I love my meat. So if I'm ordering pilau or curry from somebody, I will always tell them, please put extra meat for me and use good quality meat.
Good quality.
I don't mind paying that extra bit. Okay? When it comes to products on the shelves, okay, if it's ketchup, for example, there's a huge variety in the market, and the price ranges from 8,000 a bottle to 2,000 a bottle. You have to keep in mind where it's made from.
Yeah.
If it's a SADC country product, there's no taxation on it. So obviously it's going to be cheaper. Okay? Consumers, again, will say, but we don't know that. You know that because you're in that business.
So how do you explain it?
How do we explain it to them?
I think when we're dealing with our clients, when we're speaking to them, price is not a focus, right? You by the way you show, or the way you communicate, the way you ask, and the way you give solutions, you sort of win trust, right? Like there are times when a client comes in and they want 3 layers of curtains and all the trimmings and everything, and the room is really small, and they don't mind paying. But I'm going to tell them that you don't need all this. You know, it's not going to look good. It's going to make your room look smaller. And I offer them something that's 1/5 of the price, not even thinking about the price at that time. Because for me, right now, I'm giving them something that will add value to their decor. And that wins trust, and that's how you sell value.
Yeah,
Then
you stick by your value.
you stick
That's
by
the
yeah.
thing.
You're not trying to sell to everyone.
No,
Yeah.
you know the value
Yeah.
of your product.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yeah.
Again, we've done sampling
Yeah.
at supermarkets.
Right.
Okay, so when people try your product, then only will they know. That's the reason you have the free sampling at supermarkets. You have the free samples or the samplers that the restaurants buy from you, or
Right.
the product that the restaurant buys from you. It's out there.
There.
When you've tasted it, then you know. You can't compare Canadian Harvest to a local product per se.
Right.
I think it does well for your brand sometimes.
Right.
If you're expensive, you're expensive.
Yeah.
Because our brand stands out.
So you
Right.
know what is really the central part of all that is customer service.
So,
Customer service is value-added service.
And believing in
Yes.
your brand.
Yeah.
If you believe in your brand,
Right.
then that is it. There is no competition then, right?
and it's very true, because that happens to us all the time. We're a luxury outfit. People come in, the first thing, how much is this? How much is this? And 10 minutes down the conversation, they don't ask about the price.
Yes.
Because it's more about, what is this? How will this look in my home?
Exactly. So it's that customer service, how you make them feel. Remember I said, make them feel, think and do. That's the value add, right?
So important. So there's another question from Muhammad Raza Barwani. Sometimes a customer comes in with a genuine complaint, but your company or franchise policies don't allow you to facilitate that complaint. How do you politely say no?
Can I answer that? I think focus on what you can do for the client. So instead of saying, no, I can't do that, tell them what you can do for them.
So important.
Yeah. So not on a
And
negative.
you know, those are, the complaints are actually something that will get your customers back. And what we tend to call in service industry, service recovery. So I'll give you a very simple example. If you do something
Bring the time
wrong,
up.
what are the value that you can give to your customer that doesn't cost you a lot?
Yeah.
So I give you a good example. I went to Mambo's. I didn't like the food that I got on my table that particular day. And it was nothing wrong with the food, it was something wrong with my taste buds. And so I called them, I said, I don't like this food today. And they said, don't worry. He took it away. What do you want to have? He brought me something else. I ate that food. And guess what? It was my first time and I was truly surprised. He said, you know what? We're not going to charge you for this.
No.
Right? So that complaint, for them, they took it as a complaint. Maybe there was something wrong, but they did not understand that I had a different taste bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So
But service recovery is so important to
important.
do something for the customer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the plate, which was 20,000 on the menu, probably costed them about 4,000 or 5,000.
But want them a loyal customer.
But for me, it was value. It was 20,000 shillings value.
that you saved. Yeah,
So it would be
sure.
fair to say that like complaints are actually an opportunity for us
To do better.
win
Yeah.
a client for life,
Yeah.
right?
That's such a good way to see it, for sure. There's another question by John Doe. Don't companies hurt themselves even more when they try and do some aspects of customer service, example birthday messages, but their service in their work, example bank is very poor? So I think the question is about how much did you spend on customer service compared to how much your business can afford to spend. How much you set a budget for customer service?
You never set a budget
Yeah.
for customer
There's no
because
such thing.
customer is your centric part.
Yes.
I mean, you
If there
survive
are no
because of them, right?
customers, then you're not going to survive.
Yeah.
They're
So
You're
what,
not going to survive.
without them, there's nothing.
Customer is king, like
Yeah.
always.
Always. And
Always.
customer is right, always.
Which
no matter
actually
what.
takes me to another point there, that, you know, when you look at a business, what business used to be before is you have the shareholders, right? Then you have the management, and then you have this, then you have the staff and the customers. Today it's the other way around. You have the customers up there, your staff are key, then managers, and then the shareholders. Because if your staff don't do the job, you're out of business.
Sure.
You can't grow, right? So, you know, that part, you never have a budget for a customer. It's your central part of your business.
Sure. Someone's asking about, at this current digital era, what are some of the best CRM softwares to use?
Yeah, there are plenty out there. There are plenty of CRMs out there. But depends on what is your strategy for the CRM. Just don't buy a CRM because it is called CRM. You have to have a strategy of how you want to use it. I'll give you an example. I used to use Contactually.
Okay.
Contactually used to help me bucket my customers. So if I had segments of customers, let's say distribution or, you know, banking industry, financial industry, I would put those customers into the bucket.
Okay.
And then be able to send targeted message to them, right? But again, there are lots out there. I would be unfair to say which one is good. It will really depend on the strategy you use.
Do you have any advice, Sindika?
I think, again, I'll reiterate what Murtaza is saying, that it's important to first identify your demographic, who you want to market to,
Yeah.
yeah, what you are selling. Because what will work for an IT company
May not work.
will not work for a drapery company,
Yeah.
right? Or a food industry.
Yeah.
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 So
So the person who asked about how to explain the value of the product has sent an update to his question. He's asking, sometimes people don't understand quality, only price. This is not about food or chevro. I'm talking about premium products.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like that
Yeah.
question. I think you need to differentiate yourself,
Yeah.
right? And the differentiation of your business is customer service. Very straight. It's a premium product. But when it's a premium product, how do you serve that customer? How do you handle that customer? How do you manage that customer? Right? Or how is the experience from beginning to end? That will determine what price you keep. If you keep a price in front, when customers really come, and rightfully, this is a price sensitive market. Right? Price will always be an issue everywhere you go, especially this pandemic situation. But again, you can still explain if someone, and I'll give you a very good example. I will go to a pharmacy which is across the bridge to buy my medication rather than buying it from town. Simply because that particular pharmacy understands me, respects me, and knows exactly what I want and offers me the service that I need.
Yeah.
That's it. So emotionally, I'm engaged. And I think if you really want to sell a high-end product, you should emotionally engage with your customers. That's your
And
differentiation.
I think also the confidence with which you sell, how you sell, the
And your
product
workforce, right?
itself.
And your workforce.
The product itself speaks for itself. The test of time, and just being confident.
Yeah.
That you actually, that's the question that she could answer, because they sell pillows at Kariako, but you also sell pillows, right?
We also sell.
Okay, so you don't sell pillows, you sell solutions.
We sell sleep.
Oh,
You sell sleep. That's the differentiation.
nice.
Right?
Yeah,
So
for
when it
sure.
comes to the IT industry, right? I was talking to a client a couple of weeks ago, and we sell a certain brand of UPS, or we're dealers for a certain, distributors for a certain brand of UPS. And the client goes to me, your UPSs are of a higher price than what a different brand is of. So I said, will you compare a Mercedes to a Toyota?
Yeah. You wouldn't.
The
for
same
sure.
way, yeah? Or would you compare a Dell or an HP to a MacBook Pro?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're totally in a totally different league, yeah? So if you, again, it comes to confidence in your product and the demographic that you're dealing with.
If you justify the value of a product, you are lowering the value
Exactly,
of
and you cannot go down to that level.
the product.
Yeah, HP, Dell, okay, they're both out there. Lenovo, when it comes to the IT industry, and Apple, they're all out there. But they've created their own niche, and they're not competing against each other.
Yeah.
They've created their own marketplace and created a faithful following to each product.
Yeah.
A loyalty to their
Yes,
business.
a loyalty to their own product.
That just tells me, for example, if you're looking at Apple, they create competition from within.
Yes.
Right? So, for example, this helps with us as well, because you have a client come in and there's the fabric that's
a performance fabric and there's a fabric that's a regular fabric, and you say that, okay, this will cost this much and this will cost this much. So you have created the competition within,
Yeah.
right? And this particular thing, because it's got the quality of being stain resistant, is double. That's it.
It
That's what it
requires a lot of stuff when you talk about product and the value and
Yeah.
value of product and value of service. But you know, if you look at Apple, they're actually selling the package rather than the phone,
True.
right? And if you look at the other brands, they're selling the phone, right? Apple will sell you the entire experience of.
Apple is selling your
When-
prestige.
Yeah.
When you go there,
That's-
exactly.
yeah.
So they're
You're
selling
paying
the
so
whole
much more.
emotions
Yeah.
that comes with it.
But you're connected, you're emotionally connected to Apple. You will not look
Have
at
you been to
another
an Apple
product.
store in the US? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
When you go in, they actually put exactly how you look, what you're wearing, your glasses,
I'm
your
not
shirt,
going there.
right, at that particular time. And someone else can open the same iPad and actually address you by name, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
And that's costing you $100 extra.
Like when you go buy coffee from Starbucks, they'll write your name on the
Yes.
cup,
Yeah.
and it feels so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important what you say, that what differentiates your product from another, regardless of the price, is the customer service you add to it. And I remember just recently I was listening to this hotel owner from LA, and he was explaining that his hotel is, from the looks of it, isn't the most posh hotel in LA, but they are the top at ratings in TripAdvisor. And they said it happened the day we decided as a company to become a customer service oriented business that functions as a hotel. Yeah, and not a hotel that
That's what I said. Are you a customer service organization that happened to be a hotel?
Yeah.
Or are you a hotel that offers customer service?
Does your
That's the
product or service
Yeah.
have the wow factor?
The wow factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've actually crossed
Our time?
our time, but we'd like to get some closing remarks from all the speakers before we close the session. So Siddiqa, if there's anything you'd like to
I'd
add.
just like to thank all of you for organizing this thing. I hope it has been helpful to the viewers out there.
Yeah.
And kudos for doing this. Amazing. Honestly, very, very well thought out. And thank you for thinking of us to represent
Thank you so much for
what your
joining.
vision was for this event.
Any piece of advice you'd like to give startups or small businesses in our community?
Be very open to criticism. Don't take it as a personal insult. Okay, look at it as a stepping point to better your product and better yourself. Take it up as a challenge.
So important. Thank you. Jamila?
Thank you for organizing this. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
So I'd like to say that
It's been so much fun, to be honest. I kept thinking about it, how fun this has been.
Yeah. So I'd like to say that decide to be excellent, right? And decide to make someone's day, okay? Running a business is not easy. No one has it all together. We all have our struggles. So we wake up every day and make a conscious decision to do our best. and to spread smiles and to make people happy. And the rest just follows. That's what I feel. And that's what I'd like to share.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so sleep.
And sell sleep.
And sell sleep. Sell comfort, sell sleep,
Yes.
memories. Yeah.
Fuzan.
So let me, I'll say two things just like everyone else. So I'll say that the experience of doing this show has been amazing. I mean, every part has been customer centric. They've thought about us at every point. In fact, they even offering us dinner after this, so you can join us if you want to. It was a whole package that came with it.
Yeah.
And it's really, if they ask me to do it again, I would never say no. I would just say absolutely. I hope it added
That's
value
fine.
to you. One thing that I want to promise, and I would really want to do that, is all the questions that you have asked. We will take time in each ourselves and
Yeah,
I'm speaking on
absolutely.
behalf of
Yes,
all of us. We'll take time and answer them and get back to you with the answers so that you get the best out of this show. Right? They've done a tremendous job, and if you have something to add, and whenever they ask you to do something, I'm sure, and I would request you just to say yes without even thinking twice. In terms of a takeaway, really, if you're doing business, keep your customer at the center, because everything evolves around your customer. And when you take care of your customer, make them feel like kings and queens, but also your workforce. Take your workforce as your customer. Create the culture of service in your organization. Bring in that climate that really brings in customer first. I promise you business will grow. They will not come for pricing, they will come for convenience, they will come for solutions, and they will come for you. So it's really up to every one of us to take our business to the next level. And I wish you all the best as well for it.
Thank you so much. There's been some last minute questions, so many questions. Should we try to answer all of them and give 1 minute each for the questions?
If we have the
I mean,
time.
if the
And if you guys
the
have the
viewers
time.
want to answer, I can stay till midnight. I don't know. I'm here to serve.
So there's Muntazir Ahmed who's asking, sometimes people only care about price. How do you explain a product then? Oh, sorry, this is already answered. There's Aliabid Musa stated that it is important to build relationship with customers, but sometimes you become so involved that it is difficult to draw a line between business and relationships. How do you stay firm? I think we answered this already, but
Yeah, that
just
is-
to remind them, 30
Yeah.
seconds. Anyway.
I think it's very important on the onset to set some boundaries.
Right.
Yeah. And if you can't do it, just say, I'm so sorry, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Be honest.
I think I would just rephrase it. I'd say build a professional relationship
From the onset, yeah?
from the onset. It should be more professional than a friendly relationship. So professional one will
And if
probably
they're
put you in.
friends with you, then they will understand.
Yeah.
That is why drawing those boundaries are important.
Or setting the expectations right from the beginning
Yeah.
is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another question from Muhammad Laka. There's two questions. Customer loyalty, the product you has to be same standard and same quality every time. So consistency.
Consistency.
Loyalty comes when they always come to you. Why? Because of trust and quality.
Yes.
From Muhammad Mohsin Laka, UK. So he was.
Oh, he was suggesting absolutely. I think
Absolutely,
one
100%.
point there that really comes out, and we should really recognize that, is consistency.
Consistency is so
Right?
important.
Consistency is so important. If you do it today, you have to do it tomorrow, you have to do it the day after. And
Consistency
that only
provides
comes
good
with
service.
practice. Eh?
Yeah.
He adds that to get more customers and profit, build a name which takes 30 to 40 years
Yeah.
with consistency.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It takes a long while. Takes a long
And you
while.
know what? None of us can become experts until we've made every mistake there is to make.
Yeah.
Right? So let's make the mistakes. It's okay.
Quickly and
And
recover.
learn from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recover from it,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Muhammad Dewji is asking, how do you get honest feedback about your business on ways you can improve your service? Could you also please share tips?
Yeah, so we have a system that after every job we call the client up and we ask about the experience and we get feedback, and then we have a meeting on a weekly basis where we discuss all the feedback we've received and work on improving constantly.
Yeah.
So that helps.
I think, one of the systems that you can really do is, when I'm giving you feedback as a customer, I'm also going to watch your reaction. How are you going to react to that feedback? That reaction will really depend whether the next time I'm going to give you a better feedback, yes or no.
Or
So
should I
it's
bother?
very important, or should I bother?
Yeah.
What you should do is when you get a feedback, appreciate, take the feedback and say you'll work with it, but don't leave it there. Tell them I'll work with it and I'll get back to you on what I worked on. That is the fine line of really differentiating you. And once you've done that and you said, you know what, your suggestion, I could do A, B, and C, and it has worked and it has helped me a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The next time, they will really give you hardcore feedback.
Heart to heart, genuine.
But what
That is
happens
the
if
word, heart to
person
heart.
is blasting in and is ready to punch you?
Oh,
What do
that
you do then?
happens. No one punches.
No, if they're coming
Being angry,
angry,
what do
if they
you
are angry, if they are angry, you know, it's like your first thing is listen to what
Yeah.
they say.
They just want to be listened to.
And you know, I really relate it to when someone is throwing up. When someone's throwing up, you actually ask questions. So you put a toothbrush into the person's throat. Let them, what do we do then? We tap or pat the back,
Yeah.
right? That's soothing the customer, right?
There is
Yeah.
a 3-second rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
React or respond to a situation.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to take the 3 seconds, breathe, and say, okay, am I going to react to this situation
Or respond.
or respond to it?
Okay.
I think dealing with angry clients is a whole topic on its own. Because when
Huge
you,
topic.
yeah, it's a huge topic. So when
And a very important
and a very
topic,
important topic. So when you're dealing with an angry client, even if you've done it all right, you have to realize that there must be something on the way, something was communicated that has triggered that anger.
Yeah.
So even if you're not apologizing for the mistake, because you really don't know at that point whether it was a mistake or not, it is important that you're attentive, you're not on your phone, you're not distracted, you're listening, you validate, and you apologize to the client for making them feel that way.
All that way.
And then we take action.
Yeah.
Then you know you immediately go and try and solve that situation,
Yeah.
and then thank them for bringing it.
And that customer will be loyal for life, for sure.
There's actually putting a toothbrush into their throat.
To push them out. Let them throw up, yeah?
Let them feel good about it.
speak, let them vent.
Let them feel good about
Yeah,
it.
it's
After
important
they
to
vent,
vent.
what happens after you throw up?
Yeah,
The last thing you'll do is,
yeah,
then if I ask you a question,
Yeah.
would you want to drink water? That's the time you'll say yes.
Yes.
But when you're throwing up and I ask you, do you want to drink water? You'll probably slap you. So let them vent first.
It's
Don't ask any
important.
question. Let them vent, vent, vent.
yeah,
After they've done, apologize.
yeah. Validate and apologize for that feeling.
Now that we're done venting, I think we can now come towards the end of the show.
Now we have to
I'm
really
venting,
vent.
I'm hungry.
Just once again, I'd like to remind the viewers that the QR code on the screen will be, for the survey, will be open for another week. So please try to fill in the survey. Again, I'm reminding you will get a chance and win a private consultation with the speakers. So please don't miss out. And again, once again, thank you, the esteemed panelists, for joining us.
Thank you for having us here. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure.
And thank you for sharing about Rosho.
We need
Very
to hear
little.
more though, don't
Very
you agree?
little.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to hear more.
Just one more reminder for the audience. We have a workshop coming up for women-owned businesses in our community. We've partnered with CEDO, and we'll have a workshop with these CEDO trainers on how small businesses from home can now become bigger than they are. So
Really? When is that?
it's coming up in the next month.
Awesome. Can I add something? The whole continent is focusing on women in business. And I think it's very important for women in our community now to start moving to become more entrepreneurial
Yeah, yeah.
and grow their business, because there's a lot of funding that is coming through different channels to support women. So I think
You want to hear about Rosho? Rosho was started by my wife. It was women led, and now we're running out of time. So no, it was women led. It was my wife started it, and she went to CEDO herself, and yeah, she learned a lot from there. CEDO helped us become from a small business from home to an official formalized business. So for all the women in our community who are small businesses,
awesome.
yeah, this is a very good platform for you to join, inshallah, and turn your business into a big deal, inshallah.
Great.
Thank you so much, and inshallah you'll join us for the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for watching.